Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Aftab Mandal and in this video I'm going to talk about types of exception. So an exception is any situation which might terminate our code abnormally or it might disrupt our flow of execution. So in Java there are two types of exception. We have checked and unchecked exception. So now let's talk about checked exception first. So checked exception means that the compiler will first check that if there is any handler to that particular exception or not. If there is no handler to that exception, then our code will not compile successfully. So that's why the compiler will first check, and that's why it is named as checked exception. On the other hand, unchecked exception is also called as runtime exception because the compiler won't check those at the time of compiling. So let's talk about first checked exception. So checked exception occurs when there is an exceptional condition which can be handled in a meaningful way. So there are some checked exception like there is an IO exception which can occur if the file is not found or it cannot be read. And there is another checked exception that is SQL exception, which might occur if there is a problem while executing a database query. So these exceptions can be handled with the help of try or catch blocks. And we can also handle this exception with the help of throws keyword. So this first talk about try keyword. So if we know already that that particular line of code is risky or that might throw an exception, so we surround that particular code in the try block, and after that we use catch block. So in the catch block it will handle that particular exception from the try block. So these try and catch are must be used respectively. First we should use try block, and then following that we should use catch block. So and we can also handle these exceptions with the help of throws keyword. By simply placing throws keyword in the method signature, we can state that we don't want to handle that particular exception in that method. We want to handle that exception so that the calling method will handle that exception. So if we use throw keyword, the calling method will handle that exception. And we can also use finally keyword so that even if the code has exception or not, that finally block will execute irrespective of exception happens or not. That was all about checked exception. Now let's talk about unchecked exception. Unchecked exception in this, as I talked before, this won't be checked at compile time, rather it will be checked at runtime. So these runtime exceptions or its subclasses occur because of the simple programming errors, as it is not necessary to handle this code with a try block, but it is a good practice to do so. Some examples of unchecked exceptions are array index out of bound exception or arithmetic exception. These occur because of if you try to access an index out of bounds, then it will show then array index out of bound. Or if we divide a number by 0, then it will show arithmetic exceptions. These are simple programming errors which we can handle, or which we can correct it by simply rewriting the code. As it is not necessary to handle this code, but still we can use try catch block here to handle these exceptions. And if we don't use try catch block, the program will simply terminate. So that was all about checked and unchecked exception. So, but one question is still there. How does the compiler knows that it is a checked exception or not? So this question, I will answer this question in the next video of hierarchy of exceptions. Until then, I will see you in the next video. My name is Aftab Mandal. I hope you like this video. Thank you.